Steve, hi, how we doing? Subscribe, like, thanks very much. Carbon Based Lifeforms in the style of, not copying, let's get to it. So here we have the track. I looked at Interloper and that's what I put in as my reference track. I've not perfectly referenced it, but I've used it as a bit of a guide, and it was really helpful having a reference track that I could solo and go back and get the feel, especially for the drums. So what I picked up from Interloper, there was some nice synth sound with a little bit of filter manipulation in it. I thought I can do that. I think theirs might have been done manually and then recorded in, but I did it with an LFO. Lo-fi drums, great, got them nailed. Little bit going in the background with synth pads. It goes into a breakdown, as you can see. I've got a breakdown, and then the beat all comes back in and then fades out. So I've kind of taken a lot of what they've done, and I'll have a run through everything that I've done for this and give you a little bit of a rundown. We'll start with the drums, and I bust everything. This is as per the template video, which I'll link here or here, wherever it pops up. This is the template that I'm using. It's the Material Soundset template, which you can find on Bandcamp, which is done by the Signs of Life guy on YouTube. If I solo the drum bus and we go to the start of the drums. Now, I basically just listened to Interloper and scrolled through a load of kicks until I got a kick which sounded about right. Scroll through the snares and the hats until I got something that sounded right. And on the drum bus, I have the bit warmer preset for the saturator. I've got a room reverb drums room set. I've got a glue compressor there just kicking in at the top, and I also put the lo-fi shelf on. I popped them down in the mix because they felt a little bit loud. So that lo-fi shelf, I'll give you a with and without. So it doesn't take a huge amount out of it, but it takes enough just to get the drums into that sound place that I wanted to. So moving on to, I originally had a couple of basses in there. I was experimenting. So my original thing, if I go into session view, was I set up all of the tracks. I basically got my sound palette sorted first. I picked a load of synth noises, I played around with a few little things, and I sketched out some ideas in session view. Took them over into arrangement view and changed pretty much everything apart from the piano. This grand piano here is pretty much the only thing I haven't completely changed from that. But that's the beauty of your session. It's a sketch pad. You get your ideas down, you get your thought processes down. So for the bass, I start off with a nice wide pattern, but in Interloper there's a syncopated bass. So when the bass properly kicks in, and this is just my chord progression that I'm doing on this. Just very simple 3 chords. And that felt quite right for the bass. It worked with everything that I was doing. Now, there aren't any plucks in this, but I'll go into, first of all, these first 2 synths. So what I've got going on with this, if I hold down Command, even, I'm doing both of them. So I have this intro synth, but I also have another synth called Trance. So if I go on the Trance one, you'll see that I've knocked the Trance down to 76%. So these aren't playing all the time. It's a direct copy of the intro synth sound. So sometimes you get these, but sometimes you don't. And what I did on the second one, I've got the delay, I've got everything on it. It's a because I was moving it up and down, I put the pitch shift rather than actually shift the pitch, I put it at +7 and I put an A minor on it because the key of this is in A minor just to keep it in key. And I've got a very simple synth, just a couple of basic waveforms and a second wavetable, both on sawtooth, but I've got shimmer reverb, so mixing those in gives a nice sort of wider sound. And you can hear that break gets a little bit more as the track goes into its sort of second phase. And I've got on both of them, on filter 1, I've just got the LFO modulating a little bit so it moves it around in. It doesn't give it the same feel, but then I didn't want to copy, so it's got a filtered feel. And then if we go back onto the first one, on 2 chains I've got a bandpass spinner to give it more of a thing going on there, like a filtered thing, and another chain which is just dry. And this is basically a carbon copy of the first one. So that kind of mimicked what I was hearing, and then I wanted to have there's a sound which, there's a vibrato sound, but I didn't want to use that as my main thing, so I did put a vibrato sound in later on down here, but just more as a backing thing. And it sounds really nice. I'm using the vintage Bird's Jaw saw, and I've just got the LFO modulating that, and I've also got the LFO modulating the position and warp, so we're getting nice wave effects on it. Gives it a bit of width again. And the reason I did that is because of this echo pad here. I appreciate I'm going away, like sort of moving all over the place, but this echo pad here, originally it was very, very different. So that's the saw pad, which is made up of three saws, three different synths playing saws, and then a triangle and another basic beaten wave. And then I have the auto pan with a tremolo afterwards and an echo, but it gives a real nice sound, and it just felt like too much going on at the same time as that high vibrato as a lead. So what I did for the lead was these high plucks. So you'll notice I've got the same thing again if I double click on that. So we've got this mirrored, but the second one, or even the first one, the chance is down to 68%. So if I play these together, you'll see on the second one, I've done the same as I did with the, got the channel, it's actually the top one, yeah. So I've done the same as I did with the other channel. I've got a delay, which I didn't explain on that break one. I've got a delay turned up to 100%, synced with one, a little bit of feedback and ping pong. So it doesn't fire all the time, but when it does, you get these nice wide ping ponging sounds. So there is a delay already on this. And if I just go into session mode to look more, we've got 4 different things. We've got this Berlin delay. This came with the template, which is just an 8th note delay, a dotted 8th note delay, bit of feedback, and that's on the main synth patch. We've got this Beyond the Horizon, which I don't know if I'm actually using it for anything. No, I'm not. But I am using the Valhalla Room, medium room preset, 20-second delay, 20-second reverb, so there's quite a bit going on with it. And that's on quite a lot of the channels, the Valhalla. And then this Nostalgia for Infinity, I think that's what it's called. That is on the grand piano track because it works really, really well. And I've used it on that and also the drone sound. Just 2 sounds because it's a really, really nice reverb. Came with a material sound set. And it adds a load to it, but you can't overuse it because it feels like too much unless you're doing a big space drone track. So I'll move back to that. So that's those sounds. Got the kit, got the back in, the echoing pad, and then what I did for the drone is this echoing pad, I've actually changed it. But what I did was I resampled the audio back in, and that is just now a loop sample. Constantly looping. You can see I've shortened the loop length, I've put the fade up so it seamlessly loops, and that's just a nice background atmosphere. And then that's going through the echo, it's going through its own Valhalla Supermassive. If I turn that off, you lose a hell of a lot there. So as per my last video that not many people watched, hopefully that'll change. The Valhalla Supermassive makes a huge difference to it. And I've just got that being pushed down. As I've got on all of these, I've got this production channel strip curve, which again came with a template. It has 6 dB reductions at these 3 frequencies because apparently they're problematic frequencies. I've knocked it to 3 dB because I felt like 6 was too much. And all of them have got a -18 dB compressor, which not many of the pieces are actually exceeding -18 dB. So the next thing I wanted to do was a noise rise, and what I've got for this is, you can actually see on the side there still, I pre-created a few noise rises. I did this in Reason actually with the Europa synth because I really like the way the noise works in there, and I like working with the modulators in it. So that was just a nice thing to bring it in to the actual breakdown of the track. So if I play this, and I'll stop talking because you won't be able to hear us anyway. I tell you what, I'll take it off solo when I'm doing that as well. can talk about the grand piano. Very simple, arpeggiated line. Everything that you see here I improvised in on the push, just playing around, which is why the velocity is all over the place. Now, this is a lot more trancey than Carbon-Based Lifeforms would do, and I think that's just sort of my natural thing. I tend to veer towards those more sort of euphoric breakdowns. But I felt it really worked nicely with the piece, and it just kind of carried well through. So I've got this high vibrato back in again, and a little bit, I've only used this distant triangle, I've called it once, and lo and behold, it's a triangle. I've got a bit of damping down to the high frequencies, harmonic tension, which is the hybrid reverb preset, and then it's gone through, and I've kept the actual -6 on this one. It just sounded quite nice. That sound there, just that lone sound, and it just worked really nice here, but trying to use it in tandem with other things, it clashed a little bit too much, but it works really nicely here. And then, I did originally have the noisy pad a little bit earlier, but it felt nice to have that as the track built back up again. So, the noisy pad is one wavetable there with a noise. In fact, I think I've got, they've both got the noise unison module on. Most of that MIDI that you're seeing up there is from this noise unison, because it takes a lot of CPU, but it sounds beautiful. So if I turn both those noise unisons off, see what that does. So I'll do twice. And this felt really nice in a breakdown because we adjusted the piano. Gives a really nice, and then this Reason pad, I only use this at the end, and that's because I'm using the Reason Rack plugin for it, is why it's called Reason pad. Oops. So if I open that up, you can see this is a combinator. I'm using the Scenic, and I just chat a couple of things in there, but I put it through the Steerpike BBD, Chenille Chorus Ensemble, and the Animus Shimmer Verb, and Rob Papin's RP Verb. Welcome to RP Verb is a beautiful musical reverb. I really, really like it. I think this is one of the first rack extensions I ever bought. So this whole thing, and what I did was I used the utility to pop the width up, which is increasing the mid side, decreasing the center. So it's sort of throwing it out there, so it's not competing as much with the other pads that we've got going on. And that felt like it worked really nicely with the piano. And here I use the riser. As that comes back in, the riser just helps to... The syncopated bass line starts, the full drum beat starts, because that's just a 1, 3, 1, 3 to get it going again. That is pretty much all of the stuff that I've done. It's all in A minor, so say like with the echo pad, we've got octaves there, and it's just improvising what notes sounded nice at the time. I popped the lower octave down significantly because it just felt better for that lower side to be a little bit less competing with everything else. Now I have added a little bit of compression, so the low pluck, I was a bit concerned that the low pluck was fighting too much with this bit here, this break bit here. So if I solo the 2. So what I did was, on this bright echo track, I popped the compressor on and I took the audio from the high pluck, just to give it a little bit more room to breathe in the mix. And I didn't do anything with that one, so it's because I've got the wavetable expanded. And I took on the drum bus, yeah, I've already gone through that. Bass bus, I just added a utility to pop the gain down because it was a little bit loud after everything was going on. Synth bus, I'm compressing that with a kick, but it's only a minor bit of compression, nothing too much. But everything that's going through that synth bus, which is all of these blue ones, is getting that little bit of compression when the kick drum comes in, because it is something that Carbon Based Lifeforms have used quite a bit in their tracks, that sort of compression. And again on the pad bus, because you've got to compress, this sort of music needs a little bit of compression on there. Nothing on the acoustic, I just called it acoustic because it was the piano, but I banged the riser on there as well because I didn't know what else to do with it. And that is pretty much everything. Now I wouldn't say it was finished, I've just got a little bit here at the end where I'm going to bring the pluck back in. In fact, I may as well do that now because I think we can use this one here. Try it again. I'll just Command C and then Command V. Of course, we probably want to take that so it comes in after that synth comes in. So we get that. With that echoing pad, and then on the next. We have it. That's everything. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it's helped sort of give you a little few ideas, things you can do. Psybient in general I love. I've not tried to sound like Carbon Based Lifeforms, but hopefully I've got close enough to them to sort of get a feel for that sound to give you a sort of push on to experiment in that area. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you again. Subscribe, like. Cheers, I will catch you on the next one, which is pre-recorded. So see you later. Goodbye. And I'm going to play this track out so you can hear where I am today. Cheers.